get started. Fantastic. Thank you for coming today. Today we're going to be talking about off-page SEO, as well as some backlinking strategies and how you can use these as different ways to build authoritative and powerful backlinks. So let's get started. And if you do have any questions throughout the presentation, just pop them in the chat. So near the end, when I finish, then I can go through and answer any. So just pop them there. Perfect. So we're going to be talking about off-page SEO. And we're going to be talking about what it is, the difference between on-page versus off-page SEO, why it's important and why we need to do it. And we'll talk about a few different link factors and some terminologies that might be useful to understand before we get into the backlink building, just so we know what we're looking for when we're building them. And then talk about some other off-page SEO elements that are important before we go into backlink building, and also some fundamentals. Those are essential before we actually get there. And then finally, backlinking strategies. Those are the, I put together about 15 different ones. So that's going to be exciting as well. So what is off-page SEO? It's basically techniques and strategies that are used outside of a website, so outside the one that you currently control, to improve your search engine rankings. So this includes link building, social media, influencer outreach, and content marketing. So all of these things contribute to off-page SEO, and they work together to do that. So what's the difference between on-page versus off-page? So on-page is doing things on the website, like the content, the structure, the technical aspects, everything on your domain, on your CMS, and your site. Whereas off-page is building the website's reputation, the authority through external factors like link building, social media, influencer outreach, anything that happens outside. So the factor of control. So basically on-page SEO, it's entirely within the webmaster's control to change things, change the elements, adjust things. Whereas off-page, it's a lot more difficult to control, and there's a lot more external factors that we can't do anything about. Like, for example, someone's website, we can't really tell them how to change things. We can ask them, we can do things, or someone might link to your website, and and we have no say to that. So there's different factors that we can't control. That makes it a lot more difficult than a lot of the on-page SEO methods and techniques that we've previously talked about. Time frame. So on-page SEO can be done quite quickly, just changing some things on your site, whereas off-page SEO is an ongoing process, and it can take time to see results, especially if it's done naturally and organically. So that's really important to understand, because sometimes we can't force off-page SEO. It just happens, but there are ways to actively do it as well. And that's what these strategies are for. Impact-wise, on-page SEO typically is considered to have greater impact on the website's overall search engine. However, off-page can have equally the same amount of impact if we get quality links over time. So it can complement and enhance the on-site efforts. So why is off-page SEO so important? Well, think of every link as a vote of confidence. So every link has a level of power or authority behind it. And the more votes you have, and the greater the authority of those votes, the more credibility your page and your website acquires over time. So think of social proof or reviews. Let's say you go to Amazon and look at a product. You look at the product, but the second thing you do is you look at the reviews. So think of like backlinks, kind of like a trust factor, to see why should you visit a site. So Hike also has some off-page SEO elements. So you can go to the competitor backlink opportunities section, and you can see all of the competitors that you have and their backlinks. So this will allow you to spot out some potential backlink opportunities, which is really fantastic. And you can see that some of these have multiple backlinks, which means there's overlap, and it makes it easier to actually secure links from them, especially if they have links to multiple competitors. So Hike allows you to easily manage that. You can see in the pending tab, all the ones that you haven't processed yet. And then the ones that you have, it will go in the in progress tab. And then finally, the backlinks that you've secured, you can put into the completed tab. So really simple. So let's talk about some off-page SEO link factors. So different terminologies. First thing is the total number of linking domains. So the higher the number of linking domains, the more valuable it is. Now, this is assuming, and let's just keep this blanket assumption that you have high quality backlinks. So from high authority sites, from relevant websites, credible sites, all of that. So the more linking domains from those types of sites, the more valuable it is. So it improves the website's reputation and authority. Total number of linking pages. So these are, it's slightly different domains. You can have multiple backlinks from a single domain. More links equals more backlink profile diversity, which equals more trust and authority. Too many links from a single site is not good either, though, because let's say you have a website and you have like 1,000 links from a site. That looks a bit suspicious in Google's eyes. If it's naturally created and that's the kind of trend, fine. But generally, when you get natural backlinks, you might get like 1 or 2 or 3 on a specific site. So you want to aim for a low ratio of links to domains. Ideally, like 2 to 1, 3 to 1, even 5 or 10 to 1 is okay. But as soon as you see that ratio go in the hundreds, then it starts to look a bit suspicious. So you want to make sure that that's balanced there. Topic relevance of linking page and site. So you want to have the site and the page, the site and the page that is being linked from. You want to have that relevant to your industry, to your niche, and also to the topic of that page. So let's say the page is about, I don't know, like dentists or something like that. So you want to have it link from a page that talks about dentists, and ideally a website that is all about dentistry. If you get backlinks from non-relevant industries or non-relevant pages, then it has less weight, has less authority or credibility. So you want to have high relevant backlinks. So same topic, same industry, etc. Let's talk about do you follow versus no follow links. So by default, when you get a backlink or when you create any link, the links are do follow, which means that they pass on link equity or link juice. Now, this is what we all want. We all want do follow links. That's the ultimate of all backlinking. It has the highest authority. It has the most impact on the site. It builds our domain authority, our page authority. It's the most valuable type of link. And this is the form of reward from the linking website, saying that this page is worth checking out. It's worth visiting. We recommend it. However, a lot of CMS platforms, a lot of platforms out there automatically create no follow links. And these are links that don't pass on link equity, but they're still valuable because they can generate traffic. They can generate traffic by people visiting that page, reading it, clicking on that link, and visiting your website. So that's what makes it valuable. And also in Google's algorithm, it's still considered, a backlink still considered valuable, but not as much weight as a do follow link. So you see a little snippet down below, and this is all about, this is how you would define a no follow link. You just put the no follow in the rel attribute here, and then the link. So that's that. Link type diversity. So you want to get a mix of text and image links together, purely because from a user experience point of view, when someone lands on an article and they want to read it, they're going to click on text links, but other people might prefer clicking on images. So it improves the user experience. It makes it easier to navigate the website if there's a mix. So it's always good to have a diversity of link types, so images and text. So in terms of contextual links, these are links that are embedded within the body text of a web page. So this basically, let's say there's an article and there's like links, hyperlinks within that. That's a contextual link versus a backlink that's in the footer or the sidebar or the menu. Those aren't contextual links. So the ones that are contextual links, they have a lot more weight and authority than the ones that are in the footer or in the sidebar or in the menu. So it's always good to secure backlinks within content pieces, so blog articles or pages. And also it improves the relevance of the content and enhances the user experience by offering links to additional resources or information. So when someone is reading that blog article or that page, and then they go through and they see like a hyperlink and they read that little anchor text and they say, oh, that's interesting, let me check that out. It gives them more information and adds value to their experience. So that's why contextual links are really important. So link anchor text, this is the text that's highlighted in the hyperlink, and it gives both the users and the search engines more context as to what the page is about that it's linked to. So let's say the hyperlink, the anchor text is read this article about off-page SEO. So we know that that page is about off-page SEO. So typically it's good to use keywords in here, but I want to say do not overdo this at all, because then it's steering towards manipulating the search engines, and we don't want that either. So use keywords that basically define the topic of the page that you're linking to, but don't necessarily put the exact match keyword every time in there. You can diversify it by even putting some things like click here now or check this out once in a while, just to make it look natural, organic. So you can use the keyword, but just try different variations of it, and it doesn't have to be exact. It can be different. As long as that people understand what is this page about before they click to it, and what is this topic, then it fulfills the purpose. So other off-page SEO elements, we have reviews. So it's important to get more reviews on Google My Business profile, especially positive ones, because this gives a trust signal to users before they go to their site or when they're on your site. And this can increase traffic and conversions indirectly, because when they see these, when they read them, they're more likely to visit the website, to trust it, and to potentially purchase a product or service. So that's why reviews are indirect, and they help with the whole off-page SEO landscape. So here in Hike, you can see the Google Listings Manager, and it has a reviews management section. So you can actually manage your reviews as they come through. You can see generally how many reviews you got, 5 stars, 4 stars, and you can basically respond to them and all of that, and kind of see the overall sentiment, whether they're positive or negative or in between. So that's really useful to do. Other ones include company information. So you can include your company information on directories or Google My Business profile. And this helps Google identify your business and shows that it's been built, it's built a reputation online. So you can go to different directories, submit it, and that will really help with off-page as well, because some of these directories have ability to add your URL, so that can contribute to backlink as well. So in Hike, we also have the citations, local citations, and this allows you to see what citations you currently have and make sure that it's consistent across these. Make sure that it's all set. So off-page SEO fundamentals. Before we get into the details here, I want to make sure that before we build all these amazing backlinks and build our page authority and domain authority, we want to make sure the website is set up correctly so it can handle that extra energy, that extra link juice. So the first aspect is page structuring. We want to structure the pages on the website to allow for link juice to flow naturally. So my cursor here, let's say this is like a child page. This is an interesting page that we got some backlinks to. Now, if we didn't have the structure, all the link juice would just collect here. And yes, it would give it some page authority and give it some rankings, but it's not necessarily going to help the other pages around it that might relate to it. But if you structure it in a hierarchy, if you do have that kind of logical structure, then it will allow link juice to flow to the parent pages, the category pages, and also the home page. And this will help their rankings and authority over time as well. So that's why it's really important. So you want to have links pointing up, down, and sideways. So the next slide right here kind of illustrates this a bit more. So with internal linking, you can have contextual links to relevant internal pages. If you have breadcrumbs, which are the little navigation links at the top, let's say you have an e-commerce site or something like this, those allow basically automatic internal linking to the parent pages. And if you want to link down to the child pages, it would be a category page, and then you can have links downward. So that's why I have all these arrows, because ideally the ideal internal linking would look something like this, where the child pages point up, the category parent pages point down, and then within, let's say, these articles, you would link across to similar topics, as long as it's relevant, of course. And then it's easy for users to navigate and discover new content, but also for search engine crawlers to discover new pages and to understand the content contextually and the relationships between all the content pieces. So this is really important before we actually get to the exciting backlink building part. So now we're going into the backlink strategy. So 15 different ways to build valuable backlinks. And there's a lot here, and I'll just go through a bit overview first. So what are they? It's basically collections of various methods to acquire links from other websites, either passively or actively. So there's two different ways to get backlinks. Passively is you have some amazing content, you're getting some organic search traffic, and the visitors on there love the content so much that they're going to link to it from their sites, or they're going to share it and link to it. So that just happens because it's great content. Actively is when you use some of these strategies and go out there and build relationships with other bloggers, with other websites, with other industry experts out there, and then have them link to you based on giving them some content or collaborating on something or whatnot. So both are important to use in parallel, but each strategy will basically allow you to do passively and actively. So you can mix and match based on your business, resources, and preferences. So why are they important? Basically, every strategy has different advantages and disadvantages, and you can choose a few of them to ensure a natural and diverse backlink profile. So you don't have to use all of them. You can just use one or two or a few, but definitely choose a few. So think of each as a unique tool in your toolbox. So before you get started, make sure to do some competitor research. So in Hike, you can check out all the different competitor backlinks out there and basically make a list and go through which ones you think are the most relevant and which ones you want to start reaching out to. So that's step one. You also want to look at the domain authority. So this indicates how authoritative a website domain is. The higher the number, the better. So in Hike, the domain authority is measured from 1 to 10, or from 0 to 10 in that sense. So 10 is the highest, and those are the ideal websites to get backlinks from. So before you start, a few more points. We want to test multiple strategies to see which ones work best for you. Not every strategy works for every small business or every person. And you want to give each strategy enough effort, enough time before deciding whether it works for you or not. So just trying one for a few days or a week or two won't give you enough data, won't give you enough information to see if it will actually work. Ideally, some of these strategies you try for a month or two, or even 3, consistently putting in some effort to see if they work or not, and then move to the next one before saying, no, that didn't work. Let's try something else. All right, first one, broken link building. So just before we go into these, I just want to make you aware in the top right corner, there's a little area where you can see like the effort required and the difficulty. So this is an arbitrary score I just came up with. It's subjective, but you can kind of use this as a gauge to see how much effort you would need to put in to this type of strategy and how difficult it would be to secure a backlink using this. And as you go through, you can pick and choose different ones based on the score, or you can just listen to the content and then figure out based on what it is, if you want to try it or not. So broken link building is all about discovering broken links on relevant websites. And basically the objective here is once you've discovered a broken link on someone else's site that's relevant, you want to replace that with useful and relevant content on your site. Let's say it's a blog article about the same topic. And the problem is links, the web is such a dynamic place. Links constantly break and pages are created and then pages are taken down. So it's really hard for webmasters to keep track of all the links on their site. And broken links on a site creates a negative user experience. I'm sure everyone on this webinar has experienced the point where they click on something and it goes to 404 not found page, or an error comes up or something like, or it goes to a page that's not the same page. It's frustrating and we can't find what we're looking for. So the whole idea is to contact that webmaster, say, hey, I found this broken link on your site. Here it is. And I have actually an article that talks about the same thing. And I think it would be a great alternative. And so most of the time they'd be open for it because it's a win-win situation. They get some great content to link to that's relevant, that's useful for their audience, and you get a backlink. So it's a great exchange. Let's talk about content marketing. And this is a very broad strategy with lots of mini strategies in here. It can take a lot of effort to create amazing content, but it's well worth it because it lives on your site and it can continue to bring in more and more organic traffic and rankings for you. Difficult wise, because sometimes it's really hard to get it out there, to get it ranking, and also to get the interest of other blogs out there. But that can vary. Sometimes some micro strategies can be a lot easier, some can be more difficult. So content marketing is all about creating helpful, reliable, people first content. So when I talk about people first, it's all about thinking about the audience. What are their problems? What are their needs? Think about the solutions that you can offer. And that makes visitors want to link to it. So if they come to an article and it answers the questions, it's very useful, it's valuable, and then they basically end up feeling, wow, this is amazing, I'm going to link to it. So bottom line, amazing content equals the highest chance of attracting quality links. So just throwing a simple blog post out there, you'll have to question, hey, is this worthy of people linking to it or not? That's why we always want to put the most effort into creating amazing content that we can. So on Hike, you can actually use the system here, the AI, to write new blog posts. And this is a starting point. This basically comes up with some ideas that you can come up with for new articles that you can write. And then it generates the AI outline, and you can use that as a starting point. And the reason why I keep stressing that is because it's not going to create amazing content. It's going to create a structure, some information that you can start using, but then putting your own spin on it, adding to it, changing the tone of voice to your brand, etc. So this is really important to understand. When using AI, it's great, but use it as an assistant, as a helper when creating your content. So definitely check out that in Hike. Allows you to just come up with some new ideas, even if you hit some writer's block or whatnot. And then here's an example of a generated blog article or generated text that you can start off. So here it says, what is the difference between content marketing and digital marketing? And it came up with some content there that you could start using, start shaping into a longer blog article. So the first thing is being a source of data. So when you're creating a blog post, sometimes we really want to back that up with some facts, with some hard statistics. And people love finding interesting and original facts to use for their own content, for reference, back up their own point, their own argument, what it is. So it's important to create original data that provides insight into specific topic, depending on your niche, depending on your small business. And any information that can be measured or analyzed in your business or in your industry would be interesting for you and your audience, and also competitors and others. And this allows those readers to link back to that content, to reference it. Let's say you did a small study or a little survey, a poll to your audience, and you find some interesting insights based on the responses. You could publish that as a blog article and then share it. And then when people discover that, they're like, wow, this is interesting. I didn't know that. And then they would use that statistic, like, I don't know, 37% of people landing on this blog are interested in this. And then they use that little snippet and then link back to the source of that data, which is your website. So being a source of data pays off in terms of attracting potential backlinks. So this is a consideration, an idea, strategy to use. Long form content. So based on an analysis of 912 million blog posts, this is from Backlink via Brian Dean, it was discovered that long form content gets 77% more links than shorter posts. Now, this is really interesting, and there's many reasons behind this. There's not one single reason, but basically, when you have a really long post, you could obviously, the first thing, there's more value in there because there's more information. You can fit pretty much a lot more content about one topic, like an all-in-one. It's like a one-stop solution. Also, you can embed videos, make it interesting. So that's why people tend to link to these longer form content a lot more than, let's say, a short one. So instead of visiting 10 links to get the same information, people just have to go to that one article, that one page, and learn about it. So how long do they actually have to be? This depends on the niche, your competitors, the topic. It can vary. But what you can do is type the keyword into Google and find the average length. So you can click the top 5 results and then copy and paste that into a word count tool. You just search on Google a word count tool and then just average it out. And then that will give you a good indication how long or extensive your article should be. So I try to make it at least the average, if not more than the average. So let's say you find that the average length is 1,500 words for the articles. Then ideally you make it 2,000 words or 2,500 words. So it's not necessarily, though, about the length either. You can write a lot of fluff and not get anywhere. It's about obviously the conciseness, the quality, the value in those words. But typically there's more context, there's more information when there's more words. Okay, so EAT stands for expertise, authority, and trustworthiness. So this is a big measurement that Google takes into account when looking at content. You know, who's the expertise behind this content? What is the authority, the page authority, the links linking to it, and how trustworthy is this content? So backlinks are a valuable sign of a website's authority and trustworthiness. So ideally, you get links from websites with a high domain authority, with lots of quality links pointing to it. So that's really important to remember. Another thing you can do is to hire expert writers. So ideally, you are already an expert in your industry. However, there's experts that have a lot of exposure and people know each other in that industry, and there's ones that don't. So it's also a good idea to hire writers or experts who actually have a good audience already, who a lot of the audience knows them. So if you're already a recognized expert in your field, that's great. And you can basically get those experts to write some content for you. And this will help with your reputation, with your authority as well. So when someone reads that article and they see, oh, wow, this is written by this expert. Oh, yeah, I recognize them. He's good, or they're good. I've been to their events. I've read their blog, etc. There's a level of trust that rubs off on your local business as well and your blog. So that's a good idea. And who knows, maybe that writer might even share that article to their audience. Maybe they'll share on social media. Maybe they might link back to you. So there's potentials for other backlinks as well. So here are a few other insights. So when you're writing content, try to create longer headlines. So it's found in that same study that I mentioned before, headlines that are 14 to 17 words in length generate 76.7% more social shares than short headlines. For example, if you had a blog article and let's say you're a car mechanic or a local garage somewhere, and you have a blog article called How to Clean Your Car. Well, that's not very shareable. That's not very exciting or engaging. But if you renamed it to say the top 10 easiest and fastest ways to make your car shine after every wash, you know, that's a lot more share worthy. People are more likely to share that on social media, link to it, etc. So that's a good example. List posts. So list posts get an average of 218% more shares than how-to posts and 203% more shares than infographics. So this is really exciting because let's say you're searching, and this is an example right here. Let's say you're searching for like best places to visit in Europe. Guaranteed, most of these on the first page are list posts. See, 13 best places, 100 best places, 50 best places, 25, 20, 15, 30. I would say most of them here are. So think about that when you're creating content. Think about list posts or listicles, as they're called. These really get a lot of shares, backlinks, and great rankings over time. So that's definitely, and they're quite easy to produce because they're like mini directories to useful information. Why and what? So why posts and what posts and infographics received 25.8% more links compared to videos and how-to posts. So here's an example. Basically why traveling across Europe is easy, or why you need to get dental fillings, or why XYZ you need to do. So in whatever local business or industry you are in, there's definitely posts you can write about why something is important, and those tend to do quite well as well. Press releases. So these are a lot more difficult and require a lot more effort, but you can secure some really high quality links from these because let's say you get links from a large press website, a large news site. There's high authority there. There's a lot of trust associated with them. So if you can, ideally, that's where you can go. So newsworthy content that is interesting and relevant to a larger audience. That's what type of content is good for press releases. So let's say your industry and you just launched a business, or you've grown, or you got an investment, or anything that's newsworthy, you can write a press release about, or you launched a new product or whatnot. You can approach newspapers and press companies with these, and then you can write a press release. So it's covering like the who, what, where, when, why, and how of whatever that news is. And it doesn't have to be long. It'd be like a page or two, 500 words, 300 words, just really concise and to the point. And then you send it to these PR companies. And if it's relevant to their audience, if they feel like it is newsworthy and it's good, they can publish it and blast it out to these different sites. And you can even have like some backlinks in there. So definitely do not like miss out on this strategy, because it is powerful. All right, HARO. So help a reporter out. That's what it stands for. And this allows you to it connects reporters with a story. So story as in like a small business owner who has a story or some expertise, and it matches the current publication needs of that reporter. So the story will be published on a platform, whether it's a blog, a news site, podcast, YouTube channel, whatever that medium is, but it can lead to a brand mention or a backlink. So in this screenshot here, you'll see there's on this website, Maddiness, it was talking about AI and SEO and whatnot, and it featured Andy Allen, the co-founder of Hike SEO. So we got a backlink from there. So it can be quite simple to do. You just basically reach out to the reporter and see if they're open to it. And here's how to do it in Hike. If you go to the HARO requests, or the basically journalist outreach, you can basically filter the requests by keywords based on your industry. So if it's SEO or dentist or whatever it is, and that allows you to basically see the relevant posts. And then you can basically click on it and write a short pitch for them. And from there, if they're interested, they'll get back to you, and then you can, then they'll publish it. So really simple way to do it from Hike. Otherwise, you'd have to wade through like hundreds of different irrelevant industries or posts. Influencer marketing. So just a caveat here, when I talk about influencer, I'm talking about smaller influencers, like micro influencers, the ones with between 5,000 and 100,000 followers on social media. And why that size and not larger? Because the larger ones tend to be much harder to reach and collaborate with, unless you know them personally or already have a relationship or pay them a lot of money. The smaller ones are much easier to collaborate with, and they have still a good level of traffic engagement, and they're easier to reach. So how do you find these? Well, it depends on your industry, but you can go to Google and search, let's say you're in the travel industry, so travel bloggers, and you just basically go through. You can even find different ones in the lists. So let's say we go to one of these, and we can basically find a few of these. So here we go, and then you click on it, and then you can see how big these influencers are by checking out their social media. You can go to the Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, etc., LinkedIn, and then see how many followers they have. And then what I would usually do is you go to contact us, and usually they have like ways to contact them depending on what you contact them for. Sometimes there's an email there. You can email them directly. And then I would also reach out via social media. So direct message them on Facebook, on Instagram, on message them on Twitter, all of these places. The more places you reach out to them, the better, the higher chance that they'll get back to you, because they might get busy, they might not see the message, etc. So try to follow up multiple times over a few weeks, and that's the highest chance you'll get to get a response back. Guest posting. So this is similar. So again, you could reuse the same influencers you researched, and then you can contact them, say, hey, I'd love to write an article on your blog. And then that can build backlinks and position your profile as an authority, an expert in your industry. So some websites allow submissions where they actually will review and possibly approve them right there and then. So if you've written an article about a specific topic and you submitted that via their submissions portal, then they'll review that and they can literally see it and say, yeah, this looks great, I'll publish it, even with a link in it already. Others you might have to speak to and say, hey, what topic would be relevant for you? What would be good? Can I include a link here? Can I not? Etc. So it depends on which website you contact. Another great one is medium.com. So I'll show you how to do that. It's a blogging platform. It's quite established. If we, let's say, go to medium.com, and let's say we start, let's just go to, we have to go to one of these to search. So let's say we type in travel, and then you click on, instead of stories, you go to publications, and you can see all the different publications. They're like channels, basically. And if you click on one of these, you can see how many articles they have and all of that. And then usually they have like an about page where you can, some of them have a submissions guidelines and whatnot, so you can contact them. And they have varying requirements, so definitely check before you submit your work. But this also can be a great way to secure backlinks and additional exposure to your brand, to your business. So definitely check that out. So always check the domain authority and how well the website is ranking for different keywords, like industry keywords or topic keywords that relate to your site. Obviously, the higher the domain authority and the more relevant it is, the better. What you can do, and this will improve your hit rate, or how many websites can get back to you. Because if you do some research beforehand and do topic gap analysis, and I'll explain that in just a moment, it'll allow you to be more effective in securing links. So a topic gap analysis is where you look at all the posts and the pages that they already have on their site, and then suggest topics that they don't currently have published. So you're literally looking at the gaps in that industry and the topics they don't currently have. And that allows you to add value to them by saying, oh, I noticed you don't have a topic on a page about this. Would you like me to write one for you? And then also do some keyword research around that topic. And then you can also back that up with some data and say, oh, and it will target this keyword, which has, 5,000 monthly searches. So again, that's even more value that you're showing, that if you write this for them, it saves them the work, but also can lead to additional rankings for them. So if you approach this from a data-led or data-focused way, it can secure you these guest posts, these backlinks a lot easier, because you're doing a lot of the heavy lifting for them, but also prevent you from not getting it because they already have a page about it or a blog post about it, or they already are targeting that keyword. So that's where you can take this to the next level and just do a bit more research before you actually reach out to these websites. So again, in Hike, you can find these different websites, these backlinks that your competitors already have. And a lot of them have, some of them have like contact information. A lot of them have blogging opportunities, guest post opportunities. So you can go through there and find them there. Infographics. So infographics are in a very engaging way to present key ideas in a niche. They're quite impactful and can contain a lot of valuable information in a very compact form, just in an image. Even if it's a long image, you have to scroll down a bit. There's a lot of information in there. And users tend to share or embed them into their own website and then add a backlink as a reference to the source. So for example, let me load some of these up for you. So this is in the brewery industry, craft brewers. It's an interesting little image here about tracking the top 50 breweries over the years. And this is an infographic that, let's say, a local brewery might link to or embed in, for example. So let's say plumbers. Here is an infographic about plumbers, the number of plumbers advertising online. So this is, again, maybe something that might be linked to by similar industries. And then vehicle maintenance. This is a PDF, but just for the sake of the illustration, this is a little infographic. So again, maybe a local car garage or mechanic might create this, and then others will link to it. So some great infographic ideas. So depending on your industry, you can create these, and sometimes you might need to like have a graphic designer do it, but you can do quite inexpensively. Just find a graphic designer to do it and say, I want it on this topic, and you can do a bit of research beforehand. You can add an embeddable code snippet underneath. This is a bit more advanced, but like an HTML bit for those who do know that. That makes it easier for people to share it, but it's not necessary. You can just have the infographic there, and people can download the image and then upload it to their site and then link to your site. So that's fine too. So useful visuals that others can use. This is not the same as infographics. It's a bit more simple. So these are little visuals or graphics that represent ideas, concepts, or illustrate specific points. And they're generally universal within your industry or niche. So these are perfect assets that other people in the industry can use on their own sites and in return credit the source with a link. So for example, this page right here gives you an idea of the types of visuals that you could create. There we go. So let's say there's a dentist website and they've created this set of icons and they use this on various pages. Someone might want to use one of these on their site and then link back to it as a credit because they use that image. So that's an example. But yeah, definitely a great strategy. Again, they should have a common design theme and style. So here you can see how cohesive and common it is. So when you align them as a set, they're more practical, they're more flexible, and they can be used by others in whatever combination that they want. So that makes it, that's where the value comes in. That's where the shareability comes in. Okay, podcasts. These are indirect backlink opportunities because you can't really embed a link into an audio. However, it exposes your website and your brand and your business to a larger audience that may not be searching online on articles very often because they prefer to listen to it. So it allows them to discover your site and the content and then link to that content if they like it. So some podcasters actually transcribe their podcasts and include links within them. Here's an example, Timothy Ferris show. And here he transcribed some of this or even created a summary, and he just includes links to relevant to the guests' pages and products and whatnot. So it is worthwhile to be on podcasts, because then if they do transcribe it, then you can get potential links on there. So let's talk a bit more about local off-page SEO. So these include elements like the Google My Business profile, where you can add a website URL, make sure that your business name, address, and phone number is consistent across these different citations. And these include like online directories, review sites, social media profiles. And you want to keep these listings as accurate and updated as possible, especially when information changes. Let's say your business address changes or the phone number changes. You want to go back to these and fix them and make sure they're consistent. So that's important. YouTube marketing, another great way for off-page SEO and backlinking, because videos tend to have a high engagement rate. And what you can do is embed links within the video description and ideally have them in the first 3 lines, because that's what's visible by default. Then you have to click the show more to view more. But that can increase traffic to your site. And then you can also embed those videos, the same videos, into an article that's relevant or the transcribed version. So when people are reading that, they'll watch the video and stay on that page and stay on your site. And then even link to that page instead of linking directly to the video. So this also is great because instead of linking to YouTube, they could link to the page or the article that has that video in it. And that can attract additional links to your site. Roundup posts are an exciting opportunity because they're basically blog posts that feature a collection of insights, opinions, recommendations from experts in a specific industry or niche, so ideally yours. And they're used to create a comprehensive resource that covers a particular topic or theme. So for example, this is in the health niche, but here we have a article about this one. Here we go. Let me click it. There we go. 12 food bloggers share their #1 tip for cooking a healthy meal fast. So obviously this is a roundup post and get different opinions and information from these various people. And then the benefit here is multifold. Basically, the experts featured within these roundups want to share it with their audience, and that can increase exposure and possible backlinks. So make sure to include a link to their website, because this encourages them to link back to it or share it on social media. So you can feature multiple experts, each with their own following, and this creates massive exposure. So again, more potential for backlinks. Now, it also builds relationships with these influencers. So it can lead to additional backlink opportunities in the future because you've established that relationship already by interviewing them or including their opinion on your site. And it shows that you value their expertise. It creates trust. It builds that relationship. Another thing that could go hand in hand is that you interview them or they interview you. So if you're open to be interviewed, definitely do that. If you have an interesting story to share or expertise. And this, again, increases your visibility, which leads to more traffic to your site and additional potential for backlinks. So it all goes hand in hand. The ultimate is someone linking to you. But first, you have to get people viewing the content, checking out, loving the content, and then wanting to share it. So getting interviewed obviously builds your credibility and authority through association of other experts, of other influencers. It makes others more likely to link to your website because of this existing trust or because of this trust that rubs off on you. And this can in turn attract more interview invitations from others in the industry, the more that you're featured. So it's a snowball effect. So the first few interviews might be harder to get, but as you are interviewed more and more, you'll be more and more popular and get invited for more interviews. Another one is partnering with larger brands. So this may be more difficult for smaller businesses, but not impossible. And it can actually be quite beneficial because a link from a larger brand means a higher trust and value and higher rankings. Typically, these brands have thousands, if not tens of thousands of backlinks and high domain authority. So getting a link from them is actually really valuable. So you can either collaborate on content with a larger brand, like guest posts or a joint research study or whatever it is. And you can participate in industry events or conferences where you can actually network with these representatives and that way establish that relationship with that bigger brand that can lead to these backlink opportunities. So focus first on building the relationships and providing value. And this can take longer than establishing relationships with smaller companies or individuals. But once you have that, you built that trust, then it can lead to some amazing backlinks. So create content or participate in events that align with both parties' interests and values. Brand mentions. Now, this is another one of my favorites because it's quite easy and it's almost like there are backlinks waiting to happen. So this is where instances where your brand or your business is mentioned online, but without a link. So someone hasn't linked back to you, even though they've mentioned you. So this can occur on blogs, on news sites, social media, and directories, and basically indicates that these websites are talking about your brand and might even be willing to link to it. They just either were lazy, forgot, or didn't know the link or whatnot. So the step one is auditing. And this is the process of identifying all the websites that have mentioned your brand. So you can use Google Alerts, completely free. You can try BuzzSumo or Mention. They're all great tools to discover mentions on the internet. And then you can prioritize these different sites that have mentioned your brand based on how valuable they are to your business, like how relevant they are to your niche, your industry, what their domain authority is, all of these things. And then based on the priority, you can start reaching out to them one by one and asking them if they'd be willing to link to you. So step two, is outreach, and then finding the contact details on their website, or you can direct message them through social media. If you haven't heard back from them after a few weeks, you can follow up. Sometimes you need 2, 3, 4, 5 follow-ups before you hear back from them. That's okay, but persistence always wins. And then once they do give you a backlink, thank them because they did you a favor and you got a backlink quite easily. So that is the end of it. I'm going to bring up the chat and answer any questions that are here. Let me just bring these. Okay, I'm going to go to the top, so the earlier ones. So are you going to talk a bit about the new AI tools for auto-creating content and auto-creating website landing pages? We'd love to learn more about this and see if it's good or bad as Google's detecting AI-generated content now. Okay, so in terms of AI-generated content, that's a great question. Thank you. It's great to use these like ChatGPT, Google Bard, all of these as assistants. They're not going to replace humans anytime soon because they have limitations. You have to ask them a very specific prompt to get what you want. But the very high quality and long form blog articles and pages, they're quite complex and they go beyond just information. They have the tone of voice, they have additional information like screenshots, images, all of that. So you can use AI to actually answer specific questions, to generate some of the content, but ultimately they're pieces that you as a content creator, as the business owner, need to put them all together in a very engaging and cohesive way. So, and if you don't want to necessarily copy paste, you might want to adjust the tone of voice, adjust it slightly. It might not be even accurate, some of these answers, especially with ChatGPT, because it only goes till 2021 at the moment, the data set. So you might want to actually fact check it if it's correct or not. So I hope that helps. You want to use it as an assistant and not as a copy paste solution. Yeah, Duante 2K. Yeah, you will be getting a copy of the slide deck. Absolutely. What I'll do is I'll put the link in when I send out the YouTube recording for everyone, put put the link to the slide deck in the description of the video. Buying links from sponsored content. No, in general, Google frowns upon buying links. So that's definitely not. If it is sponsored content, then you need to mark it as sponsored content. So you need to put it, basically, you just need to put a no follow there, and Google will just say, okay, that makes sense. How much does it cost to get Gabriel to write a 3,000 word article? Okay, that's a funny one. Thank you. So okay, Infinite Wave Harry, on the page that Hike is supposed to tell me what keywords I am currently ranked for, doesn't tell me what ranking is. Is there a way to show that? That's something for the support team, so definitely raise a ticket for that. So definitely, let's see what others have said. Love the Hero integration. Fantastic. Yep, I'm glad you love it. It's super useful, can just save you a lot of time. Okay, Natalie, none of my citations show my Hike account. Okay, yep, again, something you want to just reach out to support for. These are all really great strategies, but some of them are very time consuming. Agreed, they are. So it will take like 5 to 10 hours to do one of these backlink strategies. Which would you use up the client's whole SEO budget for the month? Okay, that's a great question. So if I had to choose, let's say 2, I would definitely do the broken link strategy. And I would do, let's say, and they're all really good, but brand mentions also, because the fact is that if you're a already established business, there's other people talking about you on social media and on different sites. So you can just go in and secure those links. Same with broken links. They're broken links, but you're adding value by an additional resource. So those are the easiest ones to do, and also can secure your backlinks quite quickly. Cool. Sorry if I missed this. I get approached often by someone wanting to do a guest post on my blog, but what's the incentive for me as they are getting the backlink juice, not me? It can be it depends on like what the site is. Let's say it's a really decent site and it's relevant and they have backlinks and whatnot. It could be an exchange. So in exchange for them posting on your blog and adding some great value, you can post on their blog and have a backlink. So that could be the incentive. The other incentive is also them writing content for you as well. Now, you don't necessarily have to give them a link. You can give them a no-follow link, so it doesn't give them any domain authority or link juice, but it still adds value to them. But yeah, most of these outreach requests can be quite spammy, so ignore them, take them with a grain of salt. Do you have any ideas about how to find broken link opportunities? Yeah, so currently Hike doesn't do this, but if you go on Google and find like broken link checker tools or broken link, how to find broken links, that's one way to do it. The other way is to go on sites, authority sites that you trust, and just discover them. That's the harder way to do it, but I would definitely find a tool to do that, because then you could just find them and they'll basically monitor these different sites that you track, and then you can just spot them quickly, contact them and let them know. Cool. Anybody have any other questions about any of this? I hope it was helpful. Any other? I have a few in my second post above. Okay. Let me see. Here we go. Thank you. Can Hike tell me what keywords are most searched for in my area so I can start targeting them? So Hike can tell you like the search volume, but not necessarily in a specific area. So you might have to, do, yeah, so it'll tell you like the general search volume of that. So no, should every page on the website be written to target specific keywords? Okay, that's a great question. What about the homepage or some other general pages that aren't usually built to target keywords? How do they get ranked by Google? Yeah, so every page needs to target a specific topic. And ideally, there's unique, like each page has its unique topic. When we talk about keywords, there can be multiple keywords for one page that are very similar, but they all point to that same topic. So it could be, I don't know, how to find the best dentist, or finding the best dentist, or the best dentist. It all points to that same topic of finding the best dentist, right? So you can use multiple keywords, but it's about creating pages that have unique content, unique topics, and not overlapping them or duplicating them. And for the generic pages, like homepage, you want to think about what is the overarching idea of your whole business or your brand. What is that main, ultimate keyword that you want to go for? That's like the keyword that you want to go for. So that's what the homepage is about. Like, let's say you're a dentist. Well, obviously the ultimate would be like dentist, or if you're local dentist, you want to come up for dentist in XYZ city. So that would be the homepage. And then you go into more specific keywords on different pages. Other pages that are generic, like contact or about or things, don't have to worry too much about SEO on those because they're just very generic. Can't really optimize them that much. So just focus on the keywords for specific topics that are relevant. Cool. Oh, can Hike tell me who my competitors actually are in my area without me having to input them? So this is a great question. So typically Hike flags competitors when you already have established rankings, and it can look at similar rankings and whatnot. The other way to do some competitor research is to go into Google and type in the keywords that are relevant or that you want to target. And then you'll see your competitors right there in the top 10 results for each of those keywords. So that will basically allow you to start seeing other competitors that you haven't yet ranked for, but you want to overtake as you start creating content for that, etc. And yes, I will be sending the slides out, Tom. So yeah, anyone else have any final questions? I'm going to wrap it up. One more question. Perfect. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining. Really appreciate it. And I will send the video and slides out tomorrow at some point, and have a lovely rest of your day.